Mac here from JLPTbootcamp.com, here with another N5 grammar lesson, this time going over 3 important particles for the N5 level: amari, dake, and shika. These 3 particles have similar meanings and are used in negative sentences a lot, although some of them don't have to be used in negative sentences, but they can all basically have the meaning of only or a small amount of doing something. So for example, the first one, amari, means not very much, not very. So for example, this example sentence might help you remember, amari wa amari tabemasen. So maybe you all know the movie Amélie. Amélie, the French woman. She's rather skinny, rather slender woman. So you can try to remember it as Amélie doesn't eat that much, and so she's very slender, she's very thin, and so you can say amari tabemasen to help you remember. One little mnemonic there. Now for dake, dake means only, just, that's all. For example, the example sentence here, Scotto dake flashlight o motte kimashita. So only Scott brought a flashlight. Everyone else didn't bring a flashlight. So we're emphasizing only Scott here. We're not talking about the flashlight. We're talking about Scott. Only Scott brought the flashlight with him. One way that you can remember this, the reason why I put flashlight here, is because you can imagine Scott's in this dark room with a whole bunch of other people. They're in a cave or something, and he turns on his flashlight and says, "Dark, eh?" So, as in, with a really bad Australian accent, it's dark, eh? So just try to remember it that way. That's my mnemonic for you. You might want to use something else, but that's one way to remember dake. Now, how to use dake is for the o, ga, and wa particles. These can optionally go after, and other particles are not optional and can go before or after. So basically, if you're using dake for the subject or for the object of the sentence, you don't need to use o, ga, or wa. You would use them for emphasis, but you don't need to use them. Other particles you would have to use. So for example, watashi wa kisaten dake de benkyou suru. I only study at the coffee shop, is one way to use de. So you need de in that sentence, whereas o, ga, and wa you don't need to use in a sentence with dake. Also, dake can be used to modify an entire clause, not just objects or subjects, but the entire sentence. So, for example, nichiyobi wa terubi o miru dake da. As for the literal translation, would be as for Sunday, I just watched TV. I didn't do anything else. I just watched TV all day, basically, kind of implied there. All right, pop quiz. Can you translate this sentence? I didn't study very much on Saturday. I didn't study very much on Saturday. Okay. In Japanese, that would be doyobi wa watashi wa amari benkyou shimasen deshita. Again, we can use amari to talk about not very much, not very, and we have to use the negative tense here, even for the past. Shimasen deshita. All right, let's move on to shika. Shika can mean nothing or nobody, but this person. So it's always used with negative sentences. So basically, for this example sentence, Tanaka-san wa niku shika tabemasen. This has a basic literal translation of Mr. Tanaka doesn't eat anything but meat. Or you could say he only eats meat, but it's more of an emphasis on the negative. It emphasizes nothing or nobody but this meat that Tanaka-san likes to eat. Now again, a mnemonic for this is, I guess you have to be a little bit of a Harry Potter fan, but you think about the fact, if you've watched Harry Potter, or if you've read the books, they play a game called Quidditch. And in that game, there is a player called a seeker. And that seeker is the only player that goes after the golden Quidditch ball. So you can kind of think of nobody on the Quidditch match looks for that golden Quidditch ball, except for the shika. You have to use some katakana there, but katakana English, so to speak. But the shika is the only person that looks for the ball. Nobody else looks for that golden Quidditch. So one way to remember how to use shika. And of course, again, remember you have to use the negative sentences. Now for shika, there is no o, ga, or wa. You can't use those particles. Well, they're left out, I should say, when you use this particle. They're understood from context, generally speaking. Ni and e are optional. Basically, as they're used as directions. Ni and e are for directional movement, and so those are optional with shika. Other particles are necessary, and they go before shika. So, for example, watashi wa Tokyo made shika ikenakatta. So I only went as far as Tokyo. I didn't go any farther than Tokyo. Also, shika can also be used with numbers and counters. For example, Nakamura-san wa biru ippon shika nomimasen deshita. So Mr. Nakamura only drank one bottle of beer. He didn't drink anything but one bottle of beer. So that's all he drank. Now, shika and dake, these both have similar meanings. But there's a little bit of a nuance between these. Basically, they can be used to express pretty much the same basic concept, but there's different emphasis, different connotation when you're using these particles. So for shika, it emphasizes nobody. That's the negative part of that sentence. Nobody or nothing. So Mr. Tanaka doesn't eat anything but meat. Whereas dake, it's more just a neutral statement. If you were to say niku dake tabimasu, means he only eats meat. It's just kind of a general statement. But if you're using shika for that statement, niku shika tabimasen, that means you're kind of emphasizing he really does not eat anything but meat. In that way. Shika, it's only used in negative sentences, whereas dake is used in negative or positive sentences. And the kind of weird, irregular thing here is that shika is the only thing that can be used with kakaru, meaning to cost or to take for time and for money. Kakarimasu. Whereas dake, you can't use it with kakaru. It doesn't co-locate with that. All right, one last final pop quiz. Can you translate this sentence? That man is boring. That's all. He's only boring. Nothing else. He doesn't tell good jokes. He's not productive. He's just boring. All right, that in Japanese would be sono otoku no hito wa tsumaranai dake da. So the basic sentence is sono otoku no hito wa tsumaranai. You add the dake to basically add the meaning of that's all. That's all he is. He's nothing else. Okay, real quick review. Do you remember the uses of amari, dake, and shika? All right, let's just go over them real quick. Amari is not very much, not very. Dake means only, just, that's all. And shika means nothing, nobody, but this thing. And it's used with negative sentences. So that's it for those three particles. For more information, for more details on how to use these, as well as some tips, please join me at the premium site, JLPT-bootcamp/premium. This has been a grammar explanation video from the JLPT Bootcamp premium site. Inside the site, you will find some extra goodies, for example, some cheat sheets for all of the videos. And those cheat sheets include a few things. For example, some common mistakes that people make, as well as some example test questions for the JLPT. If you're interested in taking the JLPT and you want that extra edge, something to kind of push you above and get the points that you need to pass, I encourage you to stop by the website at jlptbootcamp.com/premium. There you can find the cheat sheets as well as some extra practice with the grammar points that I've been talking about today. Hope to see you in the premium site very soon. This has been Mac from jlptbootcamp.com.